Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Murphy Show. Today we got a real special guest, good friend of mine, man, hilarious dude. He's doing a lot of big things, man. So check in now before he's unaffordable. That's one of his phrases we're gonna get into. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, comedian Ron G.
What's up, yo? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How you feeling?
We're not gonna do this interview. You not smile. You got to smile at least once.
I'm smiling. Hey.
You sound real intense. Hey,
No.
It's my friend. I like him.
No, you know
Y'all gonna love him. Catch him before he unaffordable. You gotta smile, bro. What's up, man?
I'm good, man. How's your day going?
I'm good. I'm sleepy. I got a newborn, so I'm like exhausted. Team no sleep, bro.
Bro, trust me. Look, it's been a while, but I know that feeling.
It's the level of like not sleep that you're gonna get that you can't even describe it to somebody. Like it's like the kind of sleep where you wake up and like I took a shower and put the same drawers on. Like that's how tired I was. Like it's like delirious.
Your
sleep.
mind's in the matrix. You
Oh,
know,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? You can't remember. You holding your keys looking for them. It's one of them things.
And I wonder why parents always have a short temper.
Oh yeah.
Or short fuse. It makes sense because if you don't, once you have a kid, you don't sleep no more. So you just be on edge all the time. Go to bed.
Look, that's the worst. Edge just being.
Go to bed.
Oh man, tell me about it.
1 month old. Go to bed. That's it.
Listen, man, I'm glad. Congratulations on a boy, whatever. I
Thank you,
seen
bro.
a picture of him, beautiful, man. He's gonna be a heartbreaker, man. But
thanks, man.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it, man. So I want to tell everybody how we met.
All right. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
So it's how you know if you was gonna remember or not, because I remember it because to me, you know, when we met, you didn't know me, but I knew like who you were. You good?
Yeah, I hit my shin. It's all good. Go ahead.
See,
keep going.
All right, so I came out here in October of 2019.
Yep.
Just for a wedding, and I was like, let me go find a show at the Laugh Factor. It happened to be Sunday, Chocolate Sundays, and I was unfamiliar with Chocolate Sundays at that moment. So I was like,
you never heard of it before then?
I had never heard of Chocolate. I mean, I knew the Laugh Factor, but not that particular show.
Right.
So I buy a ticket, and back then you could buy a VIP ticket. They would shout people out during the show, the host, which is you. So I signed up, and me being like always trying to like find a way to squeak in like stage time or something. I was like, I'm gonna put him a comedian, and I used to go by my nickname, White Mike. So when I said it, and I sat right.
How long ago was that?
This was 2019.
And when did you kill that name?
The beginning of 2020.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in. I'm gonna tell you.
Gone too soon. Go ahead.
Ron is the one that told me to do it, but it happened because I got booed at a show. They really thought I was white, and it backfired. So, anyways, I thought that was like gonna be my gimmick.
Comics do that, man.
Yeah, like I thought it was gonna be like, oh, I'm White Mike. Oh, it's catchy.
Yeah.
It backfired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get to the show. I sit right in the front. I'm like fronting the line. I'm like, yo, he gonna say, oh, you a comedian? Oh, you think you got what it takes? Come up and do. That's what I'm like playing out in my head, thinking like I'm gonna try this. This is worst case scenario. Just
you
like,
DJ in the party nobody came to.
Yeah, it was. I was Will Smith on that last episode. So you hosting a show, you killing it, right? High energy. I'm like, man, this dude's hilarious. And I wasn't familiar with you at that moment either. And so you're like, oh, we got a couple shout outs. White Mike, you in here? And I'm like, yeah, right here. I'm right in front of you in the first. Like my foot is on the stage. You're like, you ain't white. I'm like, oh yeah, made a joke or whatever. Then the rest of the comedians the whole day after that just kept I was in the front.
You deserved it.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool.
You deserved it.
So after the show, I see I'm like, yo, I got to get on the stage. What do I got to do? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people ask you that because you host
every day. And
so you kind of gave me I'm like, I'm moving out here soon. He's like, oh yeah, when you move out here, find me. Like they're kind of not really dismissive, like in a rude way, but just like, bro, I go through this every day. And I was like, I bet he'll see.
I'm glad you didn't take it personal.
No, not. Some
comments be real fragile. Like he brushed me off. Like no, nobody take you serious until you move out here.
You was like, oh, there's an open mic on Tuesday. Now this was Sunday. I was in San Diego for the wedding. I drove up in traffic and ended up going to the Long Beach one because I put the wrong address in the GPS.
Oh man, yeah.
I got there like 10 minutes before the open mic. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, whoa, this ain't it.
Yeah.
Long Beach. I'm like, oh man, and I still drove there just in case. No, the show, the Tuesday show already started. I just was like, yo, let's go back to San Diego.
Right.
So I came out here 2 months later, same thing, front row, ticket, same thing. I'm like, yo, I'm here. He was like, oh, I remember you.
I do remember.
Like Mike. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. He was like, you out here? I'm like, yeah. He was like, oh, you had to look like, oh, that was 2 months ago.
Right.
He wasn't playing.
Right.
And I was like, yo, and then I just kept coming to Chocolate Sundays, and that we just became. It came from me just being like, yay, the dude in the front.
Yeah.
There's probably 100 people like me to a friendship, you know what I mean? So that's how we met, you know what I mean?
But now we solid friends, and I'm like, I appreciate our friendship because like we've been through a lot, and I'm like, I saw it. Like when you came out here, you had the hunger, you was very genuine, and I saw you putting the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? So every time I gave you some game or advice, I'm like, I saw it because I love comedy, but certain people I latch on to. I'm like, you were one of the people. I'm like, yo, he got the thing. He just got to put the pieces in place. And once you figured it out, now you're taking off. You're doing a whole podcast, and I'm on your podcast, bro.
Yeah,
like,
so it's like I was like, I gotta get, you know what I'm saying? But I remember went to your birthday party at the spot that used to be the after party for Chocolate Sundays, the all white.
Yeah.
The next 2 days later, I think COVID was like, yo, chill out in the house for a little bit, 2 weeks. And then it was just like, down. So it's crazy. So I got a couple of questions for you. So you're born in South Carolina, right?
Born and raised Columbia, South Carolina.
But you ended up in Atlanta.
Yeah, the day I graduated high school, college, I actually left and moved to Atlanta because I don't know about you, but my hometown is one of those places. If you don't leave by a certain time, you stuck. Like you don't leave by a certain age, like unless you're selling dope or having a family, ain't nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I knew I outgrew it because my senior year in college, like everything fell apart. Like everything I thought was going to happen, like fell apart, and I had to leave. And I was kind of
crazy how like what you think sometimes.
Oh, God made me leave. I had to leave because it's like I was suffocating.
Yeah,
my hometown was just too small, and I moved to Atlanta. And I fell in love because I used to go every summer. My cousin lived in Atlanta. Okay. So every summer I used to go and hang out with him. And I was like, the energy just in Atlanta just feels different. Like songs that you love here, when you hear it on the radio in Atlanta, it just feels different.
Whole different.
And I fell in love, man. And that's when I call it the quarter life crisis, where you go to college for something, but you know there's more, but you don't know what it is. And I used to be an accountant, and I got fired from every job I ever had. And I was like, this is stupid. This don't even feel right because I'm an accountant, but my personality didn't match what I was doing for a living. Something just didn't feel like it fit right. It's like buying a baggy suit. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get this tailored. And then while I was having that moment, my cousin, who I grew up with, he was like, man, you hilarious. He was a comic in Atlanta. Shout out to Straight Black. He was like, man, you hilarious, man. You ever thought about getting on stage? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And there was a place called Uptown Comedy Club that was on Peachtree. There was a whole moment in time. This is where post Comic View comics, like all the Comic View legends, are at this one place. And it was Apollo Night. Apollo Night was dope dealers and strippers.
Yeah.
And if you did 3 minutes there, you did great.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And so I signed up. I had one joke. It was trash. And before I got the joke out, I think I was less than 30 seconds in, they started booing me. Boo was okay. I'm okay with getting booed. But then they told me to kill myself. And that's when I was like, I had to question my entire, I wanted to get off stage and go straight to a career fair.
For the application,
right. But I was like, I never got booed before. I'm like, do you leave or do you stay here and take it? And so I'm getting booed. They threw boo grenades, meaning the whole back row was like, boo.
Oh, that's crazy.
Then the DJ put on this Jeffrey Osborne song. It was like, I did my best, but I guess it wasn't good enough. And then everybody started singing it like it was dramatic, bro. And I came off stage, and the MC came up, was like, yo, Ron G was trash, man. Y'all show Ron G some love. Boo. And it was like, Ron, boo. G, y'all gonna boo his name? And kept saying, like, yo, I'm still in the room.
So he's putting gas on the fire.
I'm the fourth boo that night. Like it was in order. Like I was like waiting my turn. I was terrified, but I fell in love. Something happened that night, and I fell in love. It's like playing football or basketball. If you get dunked on one time, you know if basketball's for you. If you play football and you do them Oklahomas when you lay on your back,
they said that made more people basketball players than anything.
Are you gonna join the band?
Yeah,
you gonna join the band. And I remember,
the snares don't sound too bad.
Play the cymbals, play the wind chimes. But I was like, I'm gonna figure this thing out because I'm an athlete by nature. I'm an athlete. And I got that dog in me. Like I'm gonna figure it out because there's something about an entertainer that you should have this confidence about you. Like I'm better than the people that's on top. Respectfully, I'm going to figure it out. You know you're better than them. You just got to figure out the craft. And once I figured it out, I'm like, most of the people that I admired, they were just more confident than me. They weren't funny than me. They were way more confident. There's something about confidence that can sell anything in comedy. Because LA is full of a lot of confident, charming, unfunny people.
And I'm not even saying this because it's you, but I kind of learned that from you because when I was in Pittsburgh, I never had a bad show. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying it was the funniest dude they ever saw, but it was laughs every time.
Right.
I came out here confident and then got humble because I seen these were the pros. And then it took a while for me to get on stage and really get comfortable because I wasn't confident. And so I would tell the jokes and you were like, yo, you're not smiling. You up there like,
you gotta have fun, bro.
You like you at summer camp, just waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like
mandatory.
Yeah, this is like, oh, you got to do this. Like this ain't community service. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt because I was like, I would see dudes like you. I would see other people and I'd be like, man, they're killing.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got that. And it's mental. And then, but something was like, yo, you gonna quit or you gonna figure it out?
Right.
And I was like, nah, I got to figure it out because I know I'm funny.
Right.
And then I started just,
man, you hilarious, bro.
Just keep going. And I was like, I'll get it eventually. I ain't quitting. I don't care how long it takes. I'm not quitting.
Right.
So. All right, so you get booed. What happens?
And real
after
quick,
that?
the trick to LA is being battle tested.
Yeah.
Because this is the most humbling city. I don't care what level of fame you think you at. Your fame is only good for that moment that you're famous. After that, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Because at any moment, somebody more popular can walk in the room and it changes your status instantly. Go to the club in LA. If you think you famous and you think you popping on social media, go to the club in LA and you'll get reminded of how popular you really are.
I mean, look, my social media had just taken off.
Right.
And then the way people sort of treat me after that was like, and I'm not that kind of person. I'm just like, yo, whatever you could do, I'll help you. I'm trying to tell people what I did to maybe this will work for you. But I seen the difference. I'm like, and I'm on the lower end. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine someone's up there and they think, and they come in like, nah, you can't get in.
Right.
You're like, what you mean? I got 800,000, bro. I don't even know who you are.
Right.
Will Smith is out there, or this whoever, you know what I mean? You're like,
and shout out to you for figuring it out, man. I know side note, but yeah, I mean, you figuring out social media made me so happy, bro. And social media, trying to find your voice on that is just as hard as it is finding your voice on stand-up. I'm clear about my voice on stand-up.
It might be harder because you don't know.
You don't know
what'll work.
But you found it sooner than later, and I'm watching you take off. I'm watching you get past, 6 figures on social media, and like that's huge, bro.
Yeah, it was good.
That's more important than being funny in comedy, almost.
Somebody else told me that, and it was like, when you put a high precedent on like being good at stand-up, even if you're doing good at that, for someone like me, I was like, okay, I'm good at this. I'm making everybody laugh. All this validation I'm getting, I'm still like, nah, I need that on the stage. And then what happened was, from a couple of weeks ago when I was telling you the story, you gave me a gem. It was like, that's the kind of stuff that needs to be on stage. Mm-hmm. And I started working that bit and I was killing, and I'm still writing, like making it better. But once I kind of got that, I was like, this is the stuff that's relatable.
Right.
That's real. It's genuine. So when people leave, because I know people, we call it like the low hanging fruit.
Right.
They tell the regular jokes.
That's most of comedy.
Yeah. But when you got someone to be like, yo, dude,
that's
my mom did the, you know what I mean? And you be like, I want to connect with people more than just being like, oh yeah, my stomach hurting. Stomach hurting is cool.
You ever be on the plane and you got a boo-boo and you can't get off.
People like, oh my God, that's cool. I like that. I respect them comedians because they're still making people laugh, which is the goal. But I want someone to leave and be like, bro, anytime he comes, I'm there. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So you bombed the first time ever.
Trash. But delicious. It was awful.
You keep going.
Kept going back.
And how long did it take before you think you caught a rhythm where it wasn't bad anymore? It was acceptable.
Man, I think between Atlanta and Chicago, two of the hardest places to do stand-up.
And you were bouncing back and forth?
No. I started out in Atlanta. Atlanta's like my home.
Yeah.
Where my basically I figured out comedy. But like Atlanta, you got to get funny fast.
Yeah.
Because people, it's not like LA where somebody gonna spend $60 for 2 tickets, $60 on drinks, $40 for parking. Like Atlanta, like the TV's on at the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
they came for the game.
Be funny.
And you interrupting their night. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure it out fast. Probably why I talk so fast. But like less than probably like 4 months, I was just hungry. And I went to the comedy club and hung out and watched people. And like, I figured the craft out.
That's good.
I figured the craft out. I'm like, this is it. And so within the first 8 months, I remember performing at Fort Benning, which is like outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It's a military base. And I got my first standing ovation. And I was like, this is what it feels like when you figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no, go ahead.
And I was going to say the hardest part about stand-up, first part is getting over yourself.
Yeah.
You got to get over yourself to get good at it because you can't be cool. You have sauce, but you can't be like too cool because like you got to lose in order for comedy to work. And the second part is finding your voice. Finding your voice is a lifelong thing. And that's what I was telling you about smiling. Like that small thing is a part of
the bigger thing.
Your voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you don't even remember this, but the one thing you said that day too, backtrack about Chocolate Sundays that first night, you was like, oh, you're coming out here. You can't have pride. Pride in this business don't go hand in hand. Yeah. So if you got that, get rid of it now. And I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna. I
don't think I said it like that, but
no,
like,
but I mean that was like basically like
I probably said ego. Like you can't.
Yeah, ego, maybe. Yeah. Not pride, ego. Like you can't have ego, and then because you going to places like, I want to be on stage. You're like, man, get out of here. You're like, oh, my ego said, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's so it's ego, not pride.
Yeah, I let people brag about me. I don't have to brag. Yeah. Sometimes I flex and let people know like I'm here, but for the most part, if you see me perform, I'll let people be like, yo, that dude hilarious. Okay. I ain't gotta say it. So I'm walking the room like I ain't gotta announce who I am because I did the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I did Michael Collier's morning show.
Oh yeah, I saw you post about that.
You see that?
Yeah.
So I shouted you out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, dope, man.
You gotta look. So he was saying something, and I was talking to Ron G. I forget what the context was. He was like, I was like, I don't know if you know him. I said it to lead him into the to make him say something.
Yeah, oh, that's funny. Yeah,
I don't know if you know Ron G. Oh, he was like, oh man, great kid.
He's the first person to ever give me a microphone in LA.
He shouted you. He gave you a lot of props on it, but I had to do that.
Here's the thing, Michael Collier, I'm from Chicago.
So I did that, but I was just telling, I gave you some props, but I was like, I don't know if you know Ron,
Yeah, that's my dude, man.
You know what I'm saying? And then, and that also saves it. So if you say something like, Ron G, he's like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now that looks like, so you kind of like give him the softball and then let him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my name is good, bro. But yeah, Michael Collier, I'm such a fan. I honestly feel like he got the best timing in comedy. Like, he's brilliant, man. And just always reinventing himself. And like I said, just giving young comics a platform to like share, your craft and stuff like that. So super dope, man. Congrats to you on that.
Yeah, appreciate it. So after Atlanta, you come to LA?
Yes.
And how long were you doing comedy before that happens?
Man, it wasn't that long. It was a couple of years. I just knew I had something special, but I feel like I didn't fit in Atlanta either, because I was doing a bunch of hood rooms and it was like, you ain't talking about nothing. I'm like, I'm the kid from the hood, but I went to college.
Yeah.
So my voice was different and they didn't really give me a chance to talk because it was such a boo culture, and they used to throw Nerf balls.
Oh yeah.
They used to pass out Nerf balls to the crowd. They used to have shake keys. Like, the DJ would just play a song during your set. Like, it was just, I feel like I couldn't grow. And there's a place called Twisted Taco that I used to go to in Atlanta. And Atlanta, that was like the alternative spot.
Yeah.
And I found my voice like within a year, man. I got really good, really fast. And then I moved to LA and just figured it all out. And so after that, I think after a year of being here, actually my first year, I think I wound up booking Who's Got Jokes, Bill Bellamy, Who's Got Jokes.
Okay.
I made it to the finals. A couple of years later, I did Last Comic Standing, made the finals, and then I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since then.
That's the best thing.
Trying to figure it out, bro.
Once you can replace your income with comedy or whatever it is, if you're an artist, whatever that's kind of like a metric of success.
It is,
because you're like, okay, I might not be Kevin Hart or this, right. But you're like, I work telling jokes.
You're right. You're a full-time comedian.
Yeah,
this is what I do.
So it's like I've made it, because this is not like like a sport where it's like, oh, you didn't make it to the pros, so you didn't make it. Because there's a definitive measure. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't get drafted or you don't walk on and make it, you didn't make it.
Right.
Even if you make it for one season, you still made it.
Right.
And here it's like you make it once you're just doing this.
Right.
Now, how far you make it is a different thing.
It's levels.
But it's levels. But
it's levels, yeah.
Making it in comedy is easier. And I think that's why a lot of people think they can just do it, because there's no qualifications.
We make it look easy.
You know what I'm saying? There's no, you like a doctor. You can't just, I want to be a doctor, go to doctor open mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to meet comedy. Like, here's a mic. Let's see what you got. Kill. Oh, he's a comedian now.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, I could do what he's doing. No, you can't.
We make it look easy. Yeah. And this is the thing, young comics, if you're watching this, listen. If you get paid $20 to do stand-up, you're a professional comic. Same way if somebody paid you to have sex, you're a professional. I'm just playing. But if you get paid $20 to do stand-up, even if you have a full-time job, you're a professional comedian. So sometimes we like, man, I got a day job, but I do like, nah, man, you're a pro. You're a pro when you're a pro, and that's what it is.
Exactly.
The rest is figuring it out. And like you mentioned earlier, the hardest part about LA is trying to figure out how to make money here. Because people come here and visit like, oh, I'm gonna get on. My career gonna change. I feel like Chris Tucker's the only person that moved here, and shortly after that, he took off. That's only one person. Yeah. And that was like almost 30 years ago. But like LA, the hardest part is trying to figure out how you gonna eat while your career take off.
Because it's a balancing act.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I seen an interview with Sebastian Maniscalco, and he said he was a waiter at the Four Seasons, and they would let him leave to go do sets at the Comedy Store, and then it started to take off. But he was like taking lunch breaks,
right?
Run down, do a set, and come back. Like, that's a hard thing to do. You know what I mean? So finding that is. And that's what breaks a lot of people. That's what separates people like you from other people who be like, man, I tried it. It didn't work out. When we want it, we figure it out no matter what. We be like, I'll do
you hungry enough, you figure it out. And like for me, that's why I'm real big on, if you see me perform, I always give 110%. It could be 3 people or 1,000. I'm gonna give you the money set, because that leads to more work. For me, I always get more work because I work in the way where like I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Some people trying to figure out, I hope you like me. I don't care if, like, you're gonna like me. And if you don't, something wrong with you. That's why I say I'm unaffordable, because like people don't wait till they can't afford you anymore to appreciate you, and that's part of this Hollywood thing. You know,
when I learned that about you, that you didn't taper off on what you did. You'll remember this when I said you and Tayron did a show for Joel at the Sunset Rooftop.
Yo!
And when the dude got the car, that was
a great night.
One of my top nights in comedy. And I wasn't even, no one really knew me. You and Tayron knew me from, I met Tayron through the pandemic. I knew you from before that.
That's the car accident.
Yeah, the car accident on his set, on Tayron's set.
That's so funny.
So it wasn't a lot of people there. It's not the ideal situation, but I was just studying. I was sitting in the crowd watching, and Joel was just, his introduction was just OD, bringing you up.
Right.
And when you came up, you were like, and I did, and you just mocked them for 5 minutes, and people had tears in their eyes. Then you went into the material and was even killing that. But the way you set it up, I'm like, oh, he don't care if he's at, you know what I mean, at the Palladium or on a rooftop with a hookah bar with Sports Center playing in the background. He is going crazy.
I ain't got no middle.
Yeah, and I was like,
comedy,
oh,
bro.
He's in it for real. Like, I was like, oh, that's dope. So
that was a great night too.
That was just coming out of the pandemic. Remember, that was like one of the first shows.
Tehran shouted out the guy who got in the car accident while he was performing and went back to his set.
I was screaming. I was like, yo, this is.
I was screaming, bro.
Like, these guys are different. I was just, I was admiring. I was like, yo, this
funny.
Is, you know how you think you're good at something? You're like, oh, yeah. And you're like, whoa, hold up. That's crazy. So yeah, I like that. So, all right, so you're in LA, and then, I mean, there's probably a lot in between, but let's get to now. You're currently the host of Chocolate Sundays, which is by far one of the best, if not best, shows in Hollywood you could ever come to.
I'm gonna say the world.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't been in the world, so
I've been all over. I've never seen a show like that.
But Chocolate Sundays is elite. So how do you get that? How does that come about?
Honestly, I don't have a answer to how. Again, that's why I say I'm big on being consistent, because you never know who's watching. I remember one day Pookie told me why he hired me.
Yeah.
And he said it in front of a bunch of comics and almost made me cry, because I was like, the hardest part about being out here is like, you don't feel seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you're dope. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm dope, but a lot of times I don't feel seen. And we was walking to our car after the show, and Pookie was like, oh, Ron, you know why I chose you. You ever met Pookie?
Yeah, I met him like twice.
That's like,
he said, Ron, this is why I chose you, okay? You've always been consistent. Every time I put you up, you did well. He said, I put you up before D-Ray one time. I put you up after D-Ray. I put you up after Earthquake. And every time you showed up, I put you up first on the show. And every time you did your set and you did your thing, which is why I hired you. And I'm like, yo, like.
So did you even know that you were being considered for the position? Because who was the host before you?
Man, legacy, bro. So you talking about Chris Spencer?
Yeah,
you talking about
I remember that.
Dave Arnold? You talking about Esau McGraw? You talking about Donnell Rollins? You talking about Tony Rock?
Was Donnell who you replaced?
I think it was me and Esau for a while.
Okay.
I think it was me and Esau, and then Esau left, and I think it was Donnell. I can't remember the order or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But then after that, like, they let me take over and rock out. So
that's dope.
And then I cultivated like my own energy. So when you go there, I feel like me trying to explain to you what Chocolate Sundays is won't do you justice. You got to experience my energy and how I host, because it feels like it's a moment, and it's like addictive. It's like adrenaline where you like, yo, this is crazy.
And you know, it's like, and this is not even a knock to anybody else that hosts, because they all do well, but everyone has a different energy.
Right.
So for the comedians who go there every week, we can see the difference from host to host. But people going, if it's one person hosting and they never seen you, they don't know that it's different. They're like, oh, I had a good time. But it's like, if they came and saw you, then came back and was someone else, they might be like, where's the other guy? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not even a knock to them. It's just the energy.
Understand, but that's what I do. That's my recipe. That's my sauce.
You're making it fun.
Right.
Some people, I mean, you got comedians who are high energy, like JB Smooth, and then you got comedians like Ryan Davis who barely move on a stage and they still kill. But if you're a person that likes to see someone like you, I've seen you walk out on the Sunset and come back and drop the mic, and people are like, oh my God.
The room is my stage, bro.
Yeah. So if that's what you come to see or expect, and you get accustomed to that.
You don't know what to expect when I perform. You never
you
know
someone else. You're like, you know what I mean? It's like, I flew in coach all my life. Then you get bumped up to first class. Sometimes you're like, I'm not going back there.
This is nice.
I'm not going back there, son. Like, we get this. Oh my God. Like, it's like, once you experience it, you can't go back on it. And that's the thing. So,
and I feel like God be setting me up too. It's like, if you meet my parents, like, my parents don't meet strangers. They'll curse each other out. Be like, your beige friend, Mike, he wants something to eat.
Yeah.
I get him something to eat and finish cursing each other out. So when you see me, you see my family. That's how my family are too. So when you see me perform, I want people to feel like they know me. That's why I talk about a lot of personal stuff when we was talking about content material.
Yeah, you're vulnerable.
If you see me perform, you'll be like, I feel like I know this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because I say the stuff you're not supposed to say.
Yeah, and it's stuff that some people are afraid to say because ego or pride. I ain't saying that. Because a lot of stuff you say, man, a lot of dudes go through. But as men, it's like, if we show emotion, anything, like, I don't want to give you a joke away, but the one joke we talking about looking in the mirror.
Oh, neck tears?
Yeah. So
neck tears.
So so like, a lot of dudes, I've been through that. A lot of dudes, because you can't help how it hurts.
Heartbreak. We talking about heartbreak. You know,
heartbreak.
So hard, you have tears under your neck. This is not a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? But to say it out loud for me, because I was going through it. I was depressed when I wrote that joke. I remember I was fresh off a breakup and I had to go to the show. And I feel like I perform better when I'm like going through it.
Yeah.
Because I'm honest with myself. And I just said it on stage, like, man, you ever break up so bad you want to slide down the wall crying? You know what I'm saying? Or like you cry so hard you have tears in your neck.
And you know there's dudes in the audience like, hi, they're laughing.
Thugs, everybody.
But they're like, damn, he got the, and they respect you more for it because you're not like the thug dude. You're not like the street dude. So when they see a dude just being open,
yeah.
A lot of dudes who are like super hard, they find respect in people like that who aren't, because they're like, they're willing to do something that I'm not even willing to do.
Right.
So you got to respect that courage to be
saying
like,
how you feel is gangster though. Because once you say it, you can't use it against me if I tell you.
Nah, you living your truth.
It's hard to roast somebody when they clown themselves first and then roast you. You ain't got nowhere to go.
You do the B Rabbit Papa Doc thing. Like, what else you gonna say? They're like,
where you gonna go?
Okay, so
but that's what comedy is for me too. And I'm like, I do vulnerability. Like that's my jam, and that's how God wired me to be. Because usually I learned, this is a little deep, but usually men bully their kids in the areas that they failed in, and it winds up backfiring and make you a different type of person.
Yeah, they live through them vicariously.
Yeah, don't be no punk, blah blah blah. And I'm like, now I'm feeling stuff because I wasn't allowed to feel. So, but also now that makes me money. So when I act, I can tap into anything. When I perform, you don't never see me perform halfway. Cause like when I do that joke, I can't be like, you ever have a breakup so bad?
No, you gotta sell it.
I can't fake the joke. I gotta go through it.
You gotta sell it, and you do it every time.
I'm all in every time.
You hit the wall, you draw them like there it is.
I got access.
And you're good. It was like I've seen that joke at least 50 times, and every time I laugh. Because it's so relatable, and it's like, yo, this is crazy. And he's doing it. And it's funny because I know that the people never seen it.
Right.
I know what they're going through the first time hearing it, like the first time I heard you tell it. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
It's almost triggering.
It's like, yo, what is it? You know what I'm saying? And, and then you see some dudes, like when we had the Laugh Factor, and I'm like by sidekick at the top in the balcony watching, I'll see some like the hard dudes, and they'll be like, with their arms folded, like, and they're like, bruh, you've been through this, but you ain't got the courage to say it. You just, you know what I mean? Man,
that's the recipe for success, bro. Every song you love, people let go.
So I know we talked earlier about your son. What having a son, what's he like, 2 months now?
He's a month. A month and a few days.
Man, it seemed like longer than that.
It feel like it. Not getting sleep, days go by slow.
So having this, I know you don't get to sleep much, all that, and it's a different feeling, but how do you think having a son, being a father, changed the way you view your craft, your career, and the choices you make? Because now it's not just you and your wife.
Right.
It's something bigger than both of y'all.
Man, it's kind of crazy because my wife had a medical condition when she got pregnant called hyperemesis, and it's basically like morning sickness from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
So she couldn't work. So, guys be on podcasts and women talk about, paying the bills and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like literally, I pay all the bills. Like I don't mind though, because my wife needed it, and God has provided for me in a way where my wife don't have to work. And my son is like, he's hard to soothe, and I can't send him to daycare and have somebody take care of him because he ain't got no middle. Once he start crying, bro, like I said, at 10, you know what I'm saying? So it's putting them in the hands of somebody who might mishandle my son because they're not patient. I can't let that happen. So I feel like God has provided for me, and like I ain't missed a beat the whole time. Financially, like God is going. That's why I tell comics, stay with it. Like there's no map. I'm not rich in any kind of way, but my wife doesn't pay any bill. And that like the whole, again, debate about men and women, what we should.
And you own a house, right?
I'm a homeowner.
In LA.
I work my butt off, bro.
So let's give him a round of applause for that, because that's
freshly remodeled.
Listen, that I owned a house in Pittsburgh and remodeled it, and it's nowhere near what the cost of living out here. So when you say that, like I'm a homeowner, my wife don't have to work, and you're not saying like she's not allowed to work. You're saying
no, she
I'm
can
in a
work
position she can do what she want, but I'm taking care of this because that's
I can't let nobody else raise my kid, bro.
Yeah, and honestly, like I grew up with the same kind of way, like traditional. Like if I have the money, and I understand the economy's crazy, so sometimes you can't pay all the bills. Like no matter what you do, it's just not working. But if you have the ability, I think as a man, you should be doing that, and she should be saving money. So if it gets to a point where you fall, she's like, no, I got this saved, and that's why it's important about picking your right partner. And I met your wife a bunch of times.
Yeah,
amazing. Good spirit, the energy.
Thank you.
Like every time I see her, she's cheerful.
She's goofy, bro.
Yeah, everything. So, and then when you posted that video when she was dancing right before she had the baby, I was like, oh, I never seen this side of her, but I was laughing. But I met her, like I said, a bunch of times. So it's like and you talk about it. That's important about picking a great partner, because if you got someone who's like, oh, you ain't paying all the bills, or oh, you ain't got no job, I'm out. That's how much stress I put on men. You got to find the right person. It's like, I'm gonna support you, I'm gonna listen to you, whatever.
Right.
And I feel like you got that. But the fact that you're able to do that, especially like Southern, the way people are raised in the South is a lot different than us up north and the East. Men is like, yo, you got to pay that. You know what I mean?
Right.
My dad was like, get the check here, give it to his wife, give it to my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he didn't even know how to pay the bills. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like he was like, if the phone get cut off, he's like, what's up with the phone? he can't call no company. Like, yeah, he's just giving her the check, and was like, just pick me up from work, drop me off.
Yeah.
And I grew up under that. My father, stepfather, my grandfather, like I just seen how they were. So I adapted that. And then we live in a society now where that becomes kind of divisive.
Yeah.
Because some women take that as like controlling, or you're being misogynistic if you want to be this. Like, you don't think I'm capable? Like, I didn't say that. But don't you feel more soft and feminine knowing that you don't have to worry about that? Like, you know what I mean? Like that the
podcast about to take a whole turn, but it's like, I feel like my biggest flex is marrying the right woman. When you marry the right woman, it makes your money better. I thought that in order to be funny in comedy, you got to have drama. I thought like, as long as you have drama, you can be funny. Peace. But if you get peace, you got more emotional space to write. And my wife be help punch up my jokes, because she'll give me a perspective I didn't think of. She'll be like, "Won't you say this?" I'm like, "Yo, that's freaking brilliant." You know what I'm saying? But I'm so blessed because I chose the right woman, and my money got better, bro. It's like the money you spend trying to juggle and go on dates, you going on 3 dates in 1 week, versus like my wife cooked for me, bro. Yeah, how much money I saved.
That's the difference. When
my wife cooked 3 meals a day.
Court different women. It's bro, like, yo, I can't.
My wife was pregnant, cooking 3 meals a day.
That's dope.
I don't worry about food. I don't like buying groceries, and I don't care about cooking. She makes sure I'm fed. You know how much money I save, bro? That's what I'm like. I don't care about nothing. So I make sure when I work, she got everything she needs. Hey, babe, you got any bills that need to be paid? You sure? You got anything?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm good, because she's still strong and independent. I'm like, babe, is there anything you need? And I'll send her money anyway. Like, yo, here you go. Like, no allowance and nothing like that. But that's the blessing. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like as a comic too, the hardest part about comedy is balance. Across the board. The hardest thing is balance, because when you're good at this craft, it comes with a lot of women. When you're good at this craft, you get free food. When you're good at this craft, it comes with drugs. It comes with alcohol. You got to learn balance, and nobody teaches men balance, because if you don't have boundaries for yourself, because the more you feed the monster, whatever your monster is, the more the monster want to eat. So for me, I chose to create boundaries for myself. I know what my candy is. It's ladies, you know what I'm saying? But I found a woman there that even when I'm not with my woman, I would chose her. If I go to the club with my wife, she's the girl I want to leave with anyway. That's why, like, when you're talented and your money right, you get to choose the woman you want. And
you have a friendship with her. That's important, because if you don't get along or don't like the person, you may love them. If you don't like them, it's hard to have the attraction or the desire or passion for them, because you're like, man, I don't even like this person.
Right.
And then it's hard to give you all, because a part of you is like, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like you say, you'll send your wife some money just cause. If you don't like the person, you're like, I ain't sending her nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go back.
And you care about their struggle. I don't want my wife to struggle.
No, not at all.
You can't fix them and nothing like that. But like, whenever I see, like, I'm a fixer by nature. I got a caregiver spirit based on how I was raised.
Yeah.
But I always want to make sure she's good. You know what I'm saying? But that's also too, ladies, when you find the right man, if his dream is big enough, everything that you dream of can come true. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because I got a whole nother platform now that I didn't know. So during quarantine, like, if you hear my set, I'm always talking about relationships. But I started doing IG lives with my wife, and now I got a whole nother platform. People like, yo, I love where you and your wife talk about her being around while you battle depression. Yeah. I love hearing your wife talk about, you know, like when you had financial issues your first year of marriage, and y'all still traveled, 5 times while you didn't work at all for that entire year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that gave me a whole nother platform that I didn't know. That's what I'm saying, fellas. Choosing the right woman is your biggest flex. You can talk about cars.
It's like printing money.
Bro. It's and you don't know until you on this other side. Because another thing too, I think most comics we're loners.
Yeah.
On our own, because it's hard to make friends, because everybody your friend until you take off.
Yeah.
You book something, and they like, how you get that? And they don't, how, you know what I'm saying? They only say congratulations. They like, hey man, put me on. You like, no, thank you or nothing. But then when you start having your person, it's like you can't stop what I'm doing.
And what you said is so true. I've seen comedians that. So the first impression host is not the same as the main show, what you do. So one day, one of the comedians was hosting the first impressions, and we in the lounge, and other comedians who have a far more successful career than him are like, how he get that? He skipped some spots. I'm like, yo, you're on the road. You worried about somebody hosting for 2 or 3 comics in the beginning for a couple, like 10 minutes, like once a week, like, and not even consistently, like, and that just showed me that people will hate.
That's his game.
Like, you just feel like, oh, they should get that, and I should get that, and they shouldn't. Like, why? You doing better? Why? I wouldn't be worried
stuff
about
you wouldn't
that.
even consider for. You mad at them. I'm like, yo, like, because when I first moved out here, that was a part of the issue I had. So when you're not funny and nobody know you, everybody your friend.
Yeah. But
I took off early. When I did Who's Got Jokes, I had a lot of comics be like, man, people don't like you, bro. I'm like, I ain't do nothing but like did well on the TV show. Like, I can't help what God, you know what I'm saying? And so it was a weird moment where I feel like I was losing friends. But then later on, when people started taking off, I got bitter because I was like, this conversation I had with God, because you been out here for a while. You like, man, God, I've been out here for a while. Like, have you forgot about me?
Yeah.
And then God was like, check yourself. Because
Yeah.
when you take off, you want everybody to support you. So now, if something dope happened with any of my friends or people I know or in my space, I celebrate everybody. Because I don't want to be rich by myself. I want my homies to be rich too.
Yeah, you got to.
But I had to check myself though, because you can easily become the old bitter nigga.
Yeah.
In LA, it's easy to become the old bitter nigga.
You know what happened to me, and I didn't realize. My thing is, what's for me is for me. Was for whoever else is for them. So if you get signed and I'm like, that wasn't for me then. That's my philosophy for a while. So when one day I'm at the Laugh Factory, I'm gonna do Tayron's show.
Yeah.
And me and Vaughn DiCarlo and one other person were talking. And I said something, I was like, I hate the fact that these clubs book people just on like their following. Like when they bomb every night. She's like, well, you know how hard it is for a comedian. And I was like, nah. And I wasn't listening to what she was saying. I was like, I'm not saying these people just had like a one rough night. I'm saying they're only getting booked by the following they have, but they're horrible. And I was like that. And she was like, well, that's not for you, right? And I was like, no, I just wasn't trying to hear it. But it wasn't like an argument. I just was like, nah, you don't understand what I'm saying. She's like, you don't understand what I'm saying. And I was like, all right, cool.
Right.
And then when I went home, I'm like, man, she's right. And then the next day I woke up, I seen a comedian video clip on Instagram where they were basically saying like, that's a form of hating. You looking at that person like, oh, they're getting stage time because of this. Well, but that's not for you.
Work harder.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what they're doing. She was like, you see that Michael Phelps picture where the dude's looking over and he loses? Keep your head in your own lane. I was like, all right. So now I just texted her the next day and was like, yeah, you was right. I had to check myself.
Right.
And ever since then, I'm like, I don't care why this person got it. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I just know I need to be ready for what I get. And then my following took off, and then I started getting booked for stuff simply based on that because people hadn't seen me perform.
Right.
They're like, yo, you funny on the internet. I want to book you. I'm like, okay. Now I'm hating when it was happening to other people. But I mean, I'm backing it up, but I still see why it could be.
That's what I was telling you. You got to support people because when your time comes, you want people to rock with you.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, and it was like a good lesson early.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather learn it now than when you really your name.
Bro, to be successful and bitter
mics in your face and
ugliest thing
cameras.
ever. I know cats. I'm like, I get hated on by people who are on. I'm like, yo, you have the career that most cats want. You're mad at me?
That's crazy.
It's weird, bro. That's why I'm careful about who I call big bro. I don't call everybody big bro.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You host a show and that's on a Sunday.
Right.
So has hosting that stopped you from any opportunities from like touring consistently on the road, or is just that wasn't for you yet and you're working on it now? Because I know you just were in South Carolina.
Right.
So
no, hosting has not stopped me. I just think it gives me a lot of visibility. And the crazy part is I've never been on tour. This is my first time going on tour. Shout out to Country Wayne. I'm on tour with Country Wayne, but I've never been on tour. Because the problem is I'm too strong to be somebody's feature.
See, and that's another. That's what I was going to ask you.
But I don't have enough followers to be a headliner. I got the material and time.
Yeah, you have the skill set and you have all that, but just not.
I got the credits too.
The seats you might not fill the seats.
I might not fill the seats, and I'm like,
that's a problem for business.
It's business. I want to be mad about it, but at the same time, put me up in front of anybody. Like I'm not scared to go behind. I don't care who. I'm not scared to go behind anybody.
Yeah,
clean. Like I ain't got to curse. Like I know my lane is so specific. So when it does catch on, I'm gonna change the game. I'm gonna flip the whole game upside down.
That's when it does happen. When people see, and I'm gonna tell you why I think, well, not why, but your clean is so good because if you're not really paying attention, you don't even realize it's not clean. And I tell people this in my videos. I learned this partially from you. I don't even cuss or say nigga no more on none of my videos.
You can't.
Because I want it to be mass marketable and I'm thinking global. You know what I mean? So I wanted this to be like, oh, you can show your mom. And she's like, oh, he's so funny. Not like, oh, he cuss a little bit too much. I can't show her. I want you to be able to show it to everybody.
That's what social media is too.
And you said it. She was like, ain't no money being a real nigga. Like, ain't no money in that trying to
all the real niggas ain't no broke.
You know what I'm saying? So I cleaned up my page and it really started to crest. And every once in a while, people are like, yo, thanks for being funny without cussing. I'm thinking like on stage, I'm not like that. But I've also even tried to taper that back to where I'm not relying on that.
As a comic, you got to know at least how to do clean.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing late night set is always clean.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing Def Jam, but it's like when Def Jam will come right around again. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing that I think like that I do in my videos and you do on stage is that you don't say like words that we look at as corny as replacements. Like
darn it.
Yeah. God dang it, fudge that. You're like, that makes
shut the front door and lock it.
That makes it worse because you're just like, just don't say it at all.
Right.
Weave around this some other way. And when you do it, people got to be like, hold on. Did he cuss? Didn't even notice it.
Right.
The first time I ever seen you perform, I didn't even realize it. And then somebody pointed out like, yeah, he's a clean comic. I was like,
but that's the art.
I was like,
though.
what? I was like, no.
In comedy, it's like being a wordsmith. Certain words you want to say, I can do a sound on a face, be like, you know what I'm saying? That face can substitute what it is.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it long enough. I know how to find a substitution for what I really want to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the like this episode right here. This the one.
Yeah.
That's the one, because most comics don't know. They just be doing stuff and trying to be funny, but you got to figure out what you want to talk about and how you gonna present it.
Exactly.
Because everybody making hamburgers.
Your brand.
Everybody selling hamburgers
has to be unique, authentic, and has to be
right.
A view that not only you got, but you do well at it. Like I tell people, I said the same sports come on the TV. You got Shannon and them talking about it. You got Stephen A. All these people talk about it. What separates why their views are better is the person. It's their
recipe. Everybody selling hamburgers.
Yeah, it's whose tastes better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And an outline is always on a freeway. They selling burgers just like Five Guys, just like other, you know what I'm saying? There's some places probably got better burgers, but
and respectfully, it's not that amazing.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
I don't think it is either. But whatever they're doing something right. Right. And they got their thing, and that's
like hating on the unfunny comic with the followers.
Yeah. The same.
You don't think they're the best, but that line is around the corner.
And yeah,
you complain?
Like, bro, you can't. I mean, you can't.
They don't stop the line from going.
Nah. And then sometimes what me or you or somebody else may think is not funny, they have 7 million people to think it is.
Doesn't matter.
And when they go up there, and we might be looking like this is horrible, and they're it's the funniest I ever saw. And you're y'all like this? Because everybody, bro, I'll have 1,200 comments on a video I do. 1,199 of them will be like, yo, you so funny. It's hilarious. One dude like, this is corny. I can't get that minute and a half back. And I'll be like,
is that the one you be roasting? When you be roasting cats? Is that it?
I mean, anytime, like any video I make, like it could be, I'm talking about Jordans.
Yeah.
And usually I get like the kickback from like Mexicans or Puerto Ricans, because I always say like those other Jordans are like the Mexican or Puerto Rican Jordans.
Yeah.
And they be like, man, F you ain't this, da, da, da. And I understand, because it's like they feel like I'm attacking their culture, but it's just a joke. You know what I mean? It's like a stereotype. But even when I do a video, so I'm not talking about anybody, just talking about something, there'll be one person like, man, this dude is corny. And there'll be other people, and then I just pin their comments, and I'll just let the people who think I'm funny do the work. Because I don't want to lose my page.
Way too smart, bro.
And I'll be like, nah, let me just pin the comment at the top, and then people just go at them. You know what I mean? But that's like you said, you can have all this, you know, this love, and as the one person is like, I don't think you're funny.
But they can't stop what you're doing, though.
No, they can't. But it just shows you that everybody, you're not gonna be for everybody not for you. And you just gotta accept that, because you're like, hey, I might not be funny to you, but I'm selling out Madison Square Garden 4 nights in a row.
And this is the cold part about success. Sometimes when you're really dope, you bring out stuff in people that they're too scared to work on. So it's easy to hate on somebody than do the work and be like them. So sometimes you expose people. So you being dope, you know, good looking guy, charming, good at your craft, and a dude hate on you. It's like, you know what? You're mad because your girl probably like him.
Sometimes they reveal how they feel. Like some people don't even know that they're giving away to like their trauma or their because it's just what they say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you go on, like say you're on your show with your wife and you talk about this, and then someone in the comments like, yeah, you do all this for him, cook, and then he go out and cheat on you anyways. All she's saying is, every dude I'm with does this to me, and I've never even experienced what you two have to even be like, you know what? I failed at this before, but I've had it like that too. I got to get back to that. They're just showing you what they've been through. They're like, because they go right to the negative, because they don't have any woman who's been with a guy like you or someone who's really taking care of them. They don't bash men on the internet, because they're like, my man is amazing.
Because the man that want to take care of you wouldn't want to be in that space.
I can't relate to
and my thing is, if you choose somebody that treats you bad, at what point do you realize that you chose him? You committed to somebody who don't take care of you. So let me get this right. You have a master's degree. You date somebody with a GED with no car, live with his mama, and eat McDonald's every day, and he got you pregnant. Now he an F-boy?
Come on. Talk about it.
See my face on.
Talk about it. But that's how it is. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. When it's all said and done, what do you want to have accomplished in your career? If it's I know everything changes sometimes. What you want might not happen, but if it was up to you, where do you want to see, your career go?
It's going to happen. I'm going to say Sinbad, Bill Cosby of my generation. Ooh. Whatever version that is.
That's good.
I'm going to be my version of that for our generation.
No Rufalin.
Huh?
No Rufalin.
You stupid. I never knew the full. You know the government name? That's hilarious. You knew the government name for roofies? I never knew the whole thing. That's hilarious. I'm glad you did your research on roofies. Respectfully.
Just saying.
And then I want to make $1 million on the weekend touring. And then during the week, I want to be a great dad. But I also want to be a movie star too, which I think all this stuff is happening. I got a movie right now, 80 for Brady, in the theaters, and we're number 2 at the box office. So.
Oh, wait, it's out already?
Yeah, it's out right now. Yeah, so I want to be a movie star as well. So I want to do movies when I want to. I want to have a production company where I do really, really dope movies along with my same genre, sitcoms, travel, make $1 million doing theaters for the rest of my life. That's it.
Okay.
And I want to do platforms with me and my wife about relationship stuff too, because I feel like I have the privilege of doing something in relationship space that hasn't been done before. And I want to make it cool where people are like, yo, you make relationships look dope, like marriage look fun.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do something I'd never seen before. My parents been together for a long time, but I feel like they functionally dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So I, as a comedian, just like the career you have, you saw it in your head before it started. I saw my marriage in my head before I met my wife. And I'm like, I wanted my home to be the safest place on the planet. Pillow fights, everything's a joke. Even when we roast each other, or when times get tough, we roast each other, bro. Like we had freaking miscarriage, bro. And like even when we was in the hospital, my wife had a C-section, we clowning the whole time, but that's how we move, and that's our superpower in our relationship.
Yeah, that's
and
dope.
I'm saying this out loud because I want couples to hear that. Sometimes you got something that's special about your relationship, but you discount it. Like because we laugh at everything, we don't take each other serious. Like we don't take this thing serious where we like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just all in your feelings and you feel like the person's trying to attack you.
Yeah.
We say everything we want to say, but we add a little orange juice to it. That's how we move.
But that's good. It's probably very effective for the ability to communicate about some of the stuff that's not always easily digestible, or you know what I mean? And a lot of times that's a problem. You know, I don't want to blame like women, but they're more emotional than men. So sometimes they can't take the things that aren't easy on the ears the way men can.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're like, yo, you know, you need to lose some weight. They're like, what? You can't say that. You got to figure out a way to do it. But if she said it to you, you'd be like, oh, damn, all right, let me be in the gym. So being able
they're a little brutal too.
Yeah, they
My
are.
wife is African. I don't know if you've been around African friends, but they don't have no middle. They call you by your nickname, whatever your issue is.
I know you told a joke about, you know, when she say something about your beard, so I know she got that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, you know, I guess I'm the sensitive one, but again, we just give each other permission to like not be perfect and like clown each other, and everything is a joke. Even if it's something that you ain't supposed to touch, she'll bring it up, throw it in my face, but I do the same thing to her too. You know what I'm saying? But that's how we move, and I love it.
Well, that's good. So you say you want to be a movie star.
Absolutely.
Right now, if you could pick a director and another star to go back and forth with in a movie, that could be drama, comedy, whatever.
Jeez.
Who would you pick?
Jeez, man, I'm such a fan of Michael Mann. Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm still stuck on, I don't know if you remember Bad Boys, and they was back to back in the room, and the camera went through the keyhole and it kept going around the circle when they was like back to back on each other in that room.
That's on the first one or the second one?
I think it was like the second one.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah.
Like I want to do action movies too. You know
in the Haitian house.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Bro, that scene is embedded in my head. And I want to do action movies. I want to do a dope action movie. And I feel like when my time comes, and no telling who's gonna be the guy, but I can do either a buddy cop or I definitely want to do superhero movies because I feel like we overdue for one.
But right now, if Michael Mann comes to you, yo, you're leading.
Right.
Who's your lead with you for this action movie you want to do? Who you picking? Based on what you know right now, this party. Will Smith?
I'm gonna say Will Smith.
That's dope.
I've always been a fan of him in the movies he does because I feel like he's the only leading man that I know that does comedy really well.
Oh yeah. Like
now, I'm sure there's other people that do it, but like he's a leading man, but he does comedy really well.
Yeah. You know who my guys that's not like an actual comedian.
Who that?
Will Ferrell.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. Absolutely.
I did background work in a movie with him last year, and he was dope. Talked to him on set or whatever, and then it was amazing. But he's good. So, okay, so far in your career, how long you been doing comedy for?
Over 15 years.
Okay, 15 years. So, what is your best experience that you've had thus far, and why?
Man, I got so many great moments, bro. Winning an Emmy was definitely special. I was on HBO's Insecure, and being on set and being amongst all those Black directors, producers, makeup, and crafty people. I've never had that experience before outside of Insecure. It was such a dope moment that I feel like most people in this business don't get. Because if you happen to be the Black person that's chosen, you're literally the only Black person on set, and you gotta be something that you're not when the camera's off.
Yeah.
Because also I was on I was a dad on a Nickelodeon TV show.
Okay.
And which is a super cool thing. Like to be a dad on a Nickelodeon show, that's why I said the Sinbad thing, because you are in this thing that I always wanted to be a dad on a TV.
Yeah.
But they had all white hair and makeup.
For real?
I had an all black family, and the lady pulled out mousse to do my hair. And I'm like, wait, what? She had one of those brushes with the little balls on the end that white people use.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
But because I was the lead at that time, they let me like air how I felt. I'm like, hey, look, I have a black family. Everybody has a different grain of hair. Can we get somebody of color
of the culture to do this?
Yeah, right. So they sorted it out, but like to have that kind of power is something that most people don't get in Hollywood, because once you become a series regular or a lead, that's when you have that power to say so. Because before that, I would always cut my hair before I go to set. Like I cut my own hair, but I would always go to set because I'm the only black person, and I knew they couldn't do my hair.
Yeah.
You know
so
what I'm saying?
Want them killing your line, and you got to rock.
Right. Yeah, give me the bat symbol. But yeah, man, that was another one. One time I did the Staples Center. I opened up for Jill Scott at the Staples Center.
Yo, that's big.
Amazing. Had a chance to perform at the O2 Center. I headlined the O2 Center, which is like
in London, right?
Staples Center in London.
Yeah.
Had a chance to headline there. Man,
I never knew that. That's congratulations.
Bro, I got so many just super dope moments. I remember one time I was out and some kid said, "You're like my favorite comedian," because he saw me on the Nickelodeon show.
I told you my daughter said that too. I showed you the text message when I booked you to headline my show.
I don't think you get it. I don't. Bro, having a kid say you're my favorite comedian, bro.
Listen,
bro. One time I was in Times Square. This lady was like, she saw me because she remembered me from, I think maybe Last Comic Standing. She told somebody to hold her baby and take a picture with me. Times Square.
I'm like
passing
the baby to a stranger. To the Spider-Man. Like, hey, Spider-Man, just cut it for a second. Just pull him in.
Yeah, man. So I just so many dope moments, man.
Those are the most rewarding. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you just, until you get to that level where you're like super recognizable, you don't think it happens. And then when you get that one or two moments where you're somewhere busy and they're like, yo, you so funny. You're like, oh, it fills your heart. It's like,
it's crazy. And the Brady movie was super dope because I was number 4 on the call sheet with Lily Tomlin, Rita Moreno, Jane Fonda. I was number 4 on the call sheet.
With movies with Jane Fonda.
Legend. Phone blowing up right now. Legend. So just having those moments and being that was like my first theater movie.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like for me as a comic and having this thing in your head, it's going to happen. It's just not always how you want it to or when it happens. So I'm just grateful that I have these moments, these dope moments with God. Like I don't want you to be on suicide watch too long. Let me give you.
Let me ease the load
something so remind you like I'm still thinking about you.
Yeah,
and you're still one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying?
So do you have anything in your career that you regret that if you could go back and do it differently, you would?
I do, but I ain't gonna say it because y'all gonna research and be like, oh, this is it? And then I'm gonna get roasted on social media, so I'm not gonna do that. But other than that, I'm happy about all the decisions I made, and I feel like my path is my path. And the cool part is, I mentioned earlier about being a clean comedian. I don't normally mention that. I only mention on like spaces like this. I don't say it on stage.
Yeah.
But when I got hired to do the show for Nickelodeon, when they finally hired me and I did my audition, they asked me about, hey, aren't you a comedian? I'm like, yeah. And it was like, we heard you're a clean comedian. We would love to see you perform, and we think you'd be great for this show, man. Like you'd be, and like it just reminded me of when I transitioned and started doing clean. Yeah. Like that was the moment where God was like,
so you didn't start off like that?
No.
Oh
no. When I first started, I was used to cuss and I got booed. So I was like, maybe I need to stop cussing. And then once I got clean, it got better.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought, that I was assuming that like you was in Atlanta trying to and they was like, yo, get out of here, dog. Like, you know what I mean? And
no. I was a dirty comedian. I started out, I'm not dirty, but I was a regular comedian, but I had a moment where I got saved right around the time I got funny. And there was this older comedian named Jerry Farber. Shout out to Jerry Farber. He was like 30 years in the game. He was like, man, why you curse so much? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you're a good looking guy. You don't have to curse so much to get your point across.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And then I went back to the place that booed me and told me to kill myself, and I didn't curse. And I remember I did like 5 minutes and I didn't get a standing ovation, but you can tell like I won the crowd over.
Yeah.
And that day I went home and I feel like God sat me down and he was like, all right, so you didn't curse on stage, but you curse off stage. What makes you any different? Because you hard on church people. I grew up, around church people, and I hated phony church people. And if a pastor did what you did, you would judge them. What makes you any different? And for some reason, it just sat with me. And I was like, let me not be mastered by anything. So now it's like, unless I'm naked with my wife, I don't have to cuss. That's the only time I can curse. Other than that, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to.
All right, so I got something that I do on all the episodes as a throwback segment.
Let's go.
It can be fashion, toys, anything from the past. It got to be a while back. If you could bring one thing back, it could be a store, anything, restaurant that's no longer here.
Yeah.
What would it be that you could bring back?
Man, I don't know why this just hit me, but I really love Toys R Us.
Man,
I just feel like these kids growing up without Toys R Us, they missing out. Like Toys R Us around Christmas time was such a special moment where you just walk around and your parents like, you can tell me what you want. I'm not gonna buy you nothing, but tell you what you, bro. I can't think of anything as an adult like that.
Metaverse shopping, like you're walking around, like it's like realistically, like looking at the magazine, but you can actually physically see the stuff.
Bro, besides the strip club, there's no reference point for what Toys R Us was. You know what I'm saying? Because you got bikes, you got games, like you got board game, like everything was in one room. I'm like, for me, I just remember that
Nerf footballs, everything.
Because that was a moment where you got reminded that life was simple.
Super simple.
Like life was just simple. All you got to do is pick out your clothes if you felt like it, and then pick what you wanted for Christmas.
It's so different, bro. Like I think I got a daughter. She'll be 14, and when I see like what she needs to, I don't want to say be happy, but to be occupied or to be in that space where she's like, I'm having fun with. It's like, yo, I didn't have like, we read the back of the cereal box,
right?
Like Tony Baker talks about that on stage, like that was our iPad or whatever. Like we was reading that, like we were reading East Bay. Going through East Bay. Let me see the East Bay. You know what I'm saying? Like you had a Discman with the fuzzy headphones. Like now they got they could get any song they want. Like you used to have to be like, yo, let me listen. You taking one out, listen to the other one. Like it was so simple for us, but I think we had the best time. Like I think
a CD case.
A whole flipping
CD case
in the car, sit on the
passenger, drive on one knee and flip through a CD case.
And then not if you had a 6 disc in the glove compartment.
Hilarious!
You gotta wait till you stop. You gotta take it off. You gotta lean over. Take. Then if you had some in the trunk, my dad had a Lincoln, a Mark 8, and you have to get out and pop it in the open the trunk. So it was the 6 is going in. Road trip. That's it.
Right.
If we listen to these 6, you know what I mean?
That's funny, bro.
So do you got anything that you want to promote before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I have a few things going on, man. If you can go in theaters now, 80 for Brady movie. Check it out. Number 2 at the box office. I got a short film called Terry that's out right now. I think it's going to be released in a couple of months or whatever. A short film about mental illness, and I'm the lead going dumb acting wise. I got season 1 and 2 of Partners in Rhyme on all black streaming service and WeTV. Definitely want to check that out. Every Sunday, I'm at the world famous Laugh Factory. I usually post on my social media when I'm there. Comedian Ron G, comedian RONG. Also on tour with Country Wayne. I host this tour. Man, he's killing it right now. I'll be in the city near you really soon. And I got some cool stuff pending that I'm not allowed to share yet because I'm under contract. But man, it's happening.
Congratulations on everything, man. I'm so proud of you, man. It's like I said, I told you when you had the baby and we met. I'm like, yo, I'm thankful for the friendship because,
man,
especially out in Hollywood, finding genuine people with good spirit, good heart is like very difficult. And to navigate those waters to be like, this dude, as soon as I walk away, he gonna be like, man, that dude thinks. You know, because I've seen it happen. I've sitting there and be like, you was just buddy with this dude.
Right.
As soon as he walked away, you was just talking like I just
to not know that somebody hates you until you get something successful is a weird feeling.
That's super. So it's like meeting you because, like I said, I knew people. Like I'm smart enough to know when I came up to you to ask you for advice.
Yeah,
this dude is the host, and then I seen how dope the show was.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's the man. He probably gets this 100 times. I'm surprised he even answers me. So when you did and was like, yeah, when you come out here, find me or whatever, I was like, cool. Some people take that like, oh man, that dude was an asshole, whatever. And I'm like, no, he's protecting his energy with people that are only serious.
Right.
So once he sees I'm serious and I come back, he'll be like, oh, okay, that's the step towards it. And then I just kept showing up and then we would talk and it just grew into something different.
Right.
And then when I did my first show out here that I put together, I was like, yo, I need you to headline it.
Right.
Like,
that was a fun show too.
It was fun. And then it was like, and you warned me, you was like, yo, protect your space because sometimes you have certain comedians. And dude basically was like, y'all was too black for my spot. Like, yeah, I can't come back. And I took it as a lesson. But I mean, you called it, but I already seen like, because you knew something I didn't, how Hollywood is, how people are.
Right.
And he was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And it didn't. The dude was like, you can't come back. And I was the first and only. and I wanted to do more.
I saw them people sitting outside. I was like, oh yeah, they ain't gonna like this.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, we'll do what we got to do, but
right.
I had to get you first. So I'm like, this is my guy, right
Appreciate
here,
it, bro.
And there's only a few of y'all that, like, when I first came here, really just was like, yo, and those are like the first couple people I'm having on the show because they were the ones that were there and gave me advice, open arms, you know. And the biggest person, rest in peace, was David Arnold. He does so much for me. I can't say the most, but he done so much that it was like we started to get really close, and then God had other plans, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, but he's another person to show me how, like, being married and being a family.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he documented it. That's what his social media was him, Julie, and the kids, and how he was this dad. And I was like, yo, it's hilarious. Right. So he was another person, man. So rest in peace to him, but man, I thank you for coming on the platform, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
This is great, man. I wish you nothing but success and, you know, all your endeavors moving forward. And we're gonna meet at the top, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know,
we in it right now, bro. If you do what you love for a living, you already in it. So we try to qualify what success is, and most time we don't even have a number attached to it. It's just a feeling. So to do what you love, to marry who you love, to have your kids healthy, man, like that's it.
That's it, bro.
That's what we're doing.
Like I don't wish nothing bad on anybody. It was like I know that if for some reason I was to go today, I didn't leave nothing on the table. I lived.
Killing it right now, bro.
I lived. It's like, yo, I did. So I just keep taking every day. Like this could be the last. So let me give it my all and do everything I want to do because you never know when it's going to happen. And you got to be like, I don't want to live with no regrets.
Right. And so side note, I'm going to give you your flowers right now too. I've been proud of you, bro. Because every time the fact that you said I kind of brushed you up, whatever that word was, and then you came back out here and then I gave you advice and you still took the advice I gave you. Because every time I gave you advice and you did it, it changed the game.
Always.
Every time. So watching you take off on social media, watching your comedy career take off, now you on tour, like it's crazy to watch it. Now I'm doing your podcast. Like I appreciate that.
I
appreciate that moment because I feel like a lot of times as brothers, we don't really like, it's hard to receive.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because most of us are givers, and when you're giving, you don't have to be vulnerable. But when you like receive, I'm watching you take on this information because I got the answers, but most comics, either because they don't like me, cats that don't know me, usually don't like me. But if they know me, they like, I always give you information.
Yeah,
it changes everything.
I see you talking to everybody all the time. It's good art. That's what I said. Like, some people are too prideful to be like, yo, I really appreciate this guy because everything you've ever told me has helped me in some way, whether it was slightly or a lot. It's been a great, like, oh, this worked. It wasn't like, damn, I was wrong when I said that. I didn't do this shit now. And it's never been that.
But I'm watching your career take off, bro.
And it's like, you never been like, everything I ask you, make time. If I text you, you answer. Yo, can I get you on this? I
left my son to do this.
So, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you, man.
I'm a fan,
you,
bro.
Man. I'm a fan of yours too. And bro, I hope you get everything that your heart desires. And that when you look back, your son will be like, yo, I got the best dad that I could ever have. You know what I mean? Man.
You're going to make me cry, bro.
Let's wrap it up on that, man. Comedian Ron G. Check him out on Instagram, Chocolate Sundays, man. He's one of the best to do it.
Follow me, Comedian Ron G. Don't block your blessing.
Don't block your blessing. Hey, get him while he's still affordable. You know what I mean? He's getting out of that bracket.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Everybody, Ron G. Thank you, bro.
For sure, man.